Welcome back, guys. So today we're going to be working on this N70 Toyota Hilux. We are going to be removing the front diff and replacing the bearings and seals and reinstalling it. So let's get into it. Okay guys, I'm just going to lift the ute up and remove both front tyres. Now we can just lift it up to get access underneath. Okay guys, so we're under the wheel arch now. Your steering rod ends, ball joints. We'll just pop them off both sides. It's just a split pin in there, calculated nut. So pull that split pin out. And 19mm socket. I'm going to leave the nut on a little bit, and then to pop this off, you just give it a bit of a tap on the end there with a hammer, and it should pop it off. Just undo the nut and do it. Just do that to both sides. Now we're just going to disconnect this sway bar. So we've got two 14mm bolts here and a 17mm nut at the back. Just undo that one first. And then there's two 14s on this D-rubber. Just do that to both sides. And your sway bar will just sit down. Okay, so to remove these CV shafts out of the diff, need to get them out from here. But to make that easier, lower ball joint on the lower control arm, just undo that. It's two bolts. Just need a 19mm socket. And then that will make this whole end move freely. So I like to just there is a snap ring on this shaft, so just get a decent pry bar and you should be able to just pop it out like that. So now I'm just going to drain the diff oil. It's actually a 10mm Allen key. So it can be quite tight. Just have a drain tray ready. Probably not much oil left in here because it's been leaking. So just drain that out. When the majority of it's out, just put the drain plug back in. Now that we've popped the inner shaft off, we need to get it out of the outside to get this CV removed. Just use a cold chisel and just tap this cap off. That cap just comes off, and then you've got a split pin, a lock washer and a nut behind there. Just grab a pair of pliers and side cutters and that lock washer. Okay, now we just need to undo this nut. It's about a 35, but 1 3/8 will also fit it. If we just hold this shaft out a bit, just knock that shaft out of the spline. Just carefully your brake lines and ABS wires, but they should be alright. Just wriggle that out. And you can remove your whole shaft. Just do the same for the other side. Okay, now we're going to just remove these 4 bolts around the drive shaft. 14mm. Got a little tap, should come off. Can just hang there. Okay, if you just look in here on top of your diff, there's those 2 breather lines and that bracket. You need to undo that. Just a 12mm socket. Also on the back side of the diff, up under your sump there, that's your diff breather hose. Just slide that off. Okay, now there's a couple diff mounting bolts, which just these main 2 here, and there's a 12mm Allen key at the back. And these front ones have nuts on them, so just leave them nuts on loose for now. I'm just going to completely undo this one. I'll just take the nut off that one. Let this bolt drop out. And I'm just going to guide it out and down. Okay guys, now we got the diff out on the bench, we can start to disassemble it. I'm just going to rip all these mounts off to start with so we can move it around a bit easier. Just a 19mm socket. And this rear mount's just a 17mm socket. Roll him up. They all got different mounts, so you can't mix them up. Now we're going to disconnect the ADD module. Just 4 12mm bolts around the outside. They should just come out with a fork on the end of it. It just slides that way to engage and disengage your diff. Okay, now we're going to undo these 4 little bolts here to take that intermediate shaft out. Them 4 bolts are out. Should be able to slide the shaft out. Now what we can do is undo this ring of bolts around the outside. Just a 14mm socket. Out to get a little pry bar in there. Just got to go around and loosen all the glue up. Get it off the dowels. There's a dowel up here. It's off that one now. And there's another dowel on this side here. Looks like it's coming off it now. Right. Once we get this top cover loose, I'm going to lift that out. Pull the centre out. Okay guys, the reason I pulled this diff apart is because this needle bearing on the CV shaft had failed, and I wanted to make sure it hadn't done any more damage inside the diff, which it hasn't. It looks pretty good. All these other bearings are good, even in the pinion shaft. So I'm going to replace this needle bearing, goes in here, and then reassemble it. Okay guys, I'm just covering the diff up a bit, and I'm going to wrap this bearing just to protect it from any welding splatter, because I'm going to weld a nut to the needle bearing so I can put a slide hammer on it and pull it out. Alright guys, we'll just set this up to press this new bearing in. If you hit them with a hammer, sometimes the needle rollers fall out. Once it starts nice and square, it should go in really good. Okay guys, so I've cleaned up the surfaces to put it back together. Spray it with a bit of brake and get any oil residue or anything off. Then we can put a little bit of sealant around the outside. There's no gasket on these, they're just sealant. Make sure you go around all the bolt holes and the dowels. Okay, once you've got a nice even coat around it, and put this back together. Make sure you got it lined up so the dowels line up and the breather goes on top. Just gonna slowly slide that in there. I'll have to rotate the pinion just to get it meshed together, and you could just tap it down on the dowels. I'm just going to put a little bit of Loctite on these bolts as well. You just wind them down evenly. There. Okay, time to fit the intermediate shaft. We'll just clean up them surfaces too. everything just has sealing on it. So just do an even run around the outside again. The actuator faces out the front, and there's a little spline that has to line up on that too. Just put a little bit of Loctite on these bolts as well. These bolts here are about 30 Newton meters. These ones are 55. Just make sure your little sleeve there moves freely and engages on that gear. Alright, we'll put some sealant on this. Just make sure there's no oil on them surfaces so the sealant sticks. There is two little dowel pins on there that need to line up. Okay, now we're going to replace the seals. And these are your Toyota part numbers. One ends in 37, one ends in 35. They are different, both sides. Just clean up any oil. Where that seal sits. It's actually this side. So 37 goes into this side. Just gonna tap the outside with a punch and work your way in. Goes in just past the taper. Make sure it's even the whole way around. Now we're going to do the same for this side. This taper actually goes in just a little bit further, so make sure it's even the whole way around. Okay, next thing we're going to do is just fit our mounts. Once you get it up there, it'll sit in there with that steering rack and mount. This has actually got a diff drop kit on it, so that's why it's got these spaces under there. Just to reduce the angle of your CVs. That's one mount in. The rear one just has a nut on it. I'm just going to tension these front ones up first. It's 19mm. The rear one's just a 12mm Allen key. Hey guys, so we'll just connect our little diff breather, the ADD valve breather, and just tuck the wiring up here somewhere. And that down, connect that up. Make sure you hear that click. You can't pull it out. There's a wiring bracket, and on the back side of the diff you got your breather tube up there. Just connect that on the very top. It slides on. Then on the very top of the diff you have your breather bracket. This one bolt goes in the very top. Okay guys, now we're just going to fit the drive shaft. Do have a little bit of Loctite on these bolts. Okay, now we're going to fit the new CV shafts. Let's put a little bit of grease on the splines as well. Just rotate that hub around until it the spline lines up. Now to get the inner CV shaft in, just make sure it's lined up in the spline, and then you can get a long punch and just give it a tap in. Just tap it in evenly on both sides. That should just pop in over that snap ring. You feel that it's pretty solid there now. And one way to test it is just grab it and try and pull it out. If you can't move it, it'll be locked in. And there's a little sealing plate that should be flush up against it anyway, so you know it's home. Yeah, on the outer CV, it just comes through the hub. Put a nut on. Tighten that up. Now, this has a little locking ring. So just spin it around till it lines up. And we put a split pin right through. And then this cap goes around the outside. Just get that on evenly. And you just tap around that outer edge. Get it all the way home. Now we'll go do the same on the other side. Okay, now we're just going to fit the bolts in the lower ball joint. These can be a bit tricky. Next thing we're going to fit is the sway bar. You can There's D-rubber here. It's 14mm socket. And you can fit this in that. Just a 17mm nut on the back of that one. Just do the same on both sides. Okay, now we're just gonna fit our steering arms. Just make sure you get the split pin hole lined up. Okay guys, now we can fit the wheels. Okay guys, we're just gonna fill up the diff oil now. The plug is just up here, it's a 10mm Allen key. It's got some 75/90 semi-synthetic diff oil. I think these take about 1.6 litres. Just pump it in until it starts coming out the fill plug. Looks like it's starting to run out there now. It's full now that it's just running out. We can fit the fill plug. Okay guys, let's how you remove the diff on this N70 Hilux. Replace the seals, one needle bearing, and then refit the diff and fill it with oil. So thanks for watching. I hope you've learnt something. Please like, subscribe and comment, and we'll catch you on the next one.